What's the deal with science? This is Zach's show, and I answer questions that people ask me. This week is a little bit of an experiment, if you will. I'm asking myself a question. So what's the deal with science? I have to draw a chart, actually. So I drew this chart. This is about the motives for human knowledge. Like, everybody needs knowledge because the human condition is that you kind of have this interior where you're aware of things, and then there's like the exterior where rocks collide and boulders fall, and the material world confronts itself in a way that defies your will. And so every time the exterior world defies what you would do inwardly, you want to control it. You wish you had some way of dealing with it. And knowing about it is the first and best way. It's like the first step in any way of dealing with something. Now, so science is science is a way that we use to know things in modern times. So all knowledge, every aspect of reality has a degree to which you want to know, which is either high or low, and a degree to which you have access to that knowledge, which is also either high or low. So like every piece of potential knowledge falls somewhere on this grid. Now, science is the modern way of turning low accessibility into high accessibility. It's increasing the accessibility of knowledge. The desirability of the knowledge technically shouldn't matter, but in human terms, if there's a piece of knowledge that you would really like to know, because it either gives you power or it calms you down, the desirability of any given piece of knowledge strongly affects how science plays out in the real world. Now this is a chart of science about the degree to which science can increase the accessibility of any given piece of knowledge. All pieces of knowledge are in one of these three categories. Up here you have the shit science can answer really well, like an eclipse. Like when is the next eclipse going to happen? Or the Manhattan Project. What's going to happen when I trigger this nuclear explosion? Or any one of the thousands of scientific miracles that have led to technology that have created the modern world. And that's great, because if the knowledge has a high desirability, and science can answer it really well, that means it has high accessibility too. So it's in this quadrant. And that's like the best kind of knowledge and the most attractive kind of knowledge. When you see what kinds of knowledge that we're capable of, you want to believe that we can have that knowledge in every area of life, so that we never have to live in an unpredictable way, so that we don't have to actually live in a chaotic world where rocks collide and things smash in ways we don't understand. But these two lower categories are the shit science can sort of answer. And this would be something that has to do with biological systems or complex fluid mechanics, or testing large populations of people to determine all sorts of aspects of their biochemistry and their behaviors. So science can sort of answer some things. And then there's this shit that science can't answer. There are a lot of aspects of reality that are so specific to the time and place and the material and people involved that there's no possibility of running experiments on them. Most of history is like that. Military generals had to just make decisions. They couldn't run experiments to see which version of a military plan ended up winning the war, and then use that one. They just had to try to win the war based on a lack of actual knowledge. this is true in each person's life. The big aspects of your life aren't scientific in the sense that you can't go there again. You're never going to be in that place at that time again. Science also can't answer where did the universe come from? Like, where did the material that created the universe as we know it, where was it to begin with? There are limitations to our instruments that bind us trapped within the forces that we can observe. Like dark energy or dark matter are at the limits of what we can observe. And there may well be numerous forces beyond that that actually created our universe that are simply never going to be observed. So this thing is actually really huge. This category down here. But humans have always wanted to believe that they had access to knowledge that they didn't have. Anytime the desirability of a piece of knowledge is high, there will be a push in the direction of believing that the accessibility is high. For example, if you're having trouble, then you'll go see a fortune teller, because the fortune teller's job is to make you believe that you can know something that you might not be able to know. So your inclination is to move this way in the chart, especially when the desirability is high of the knowledge. This happens all throughout history. And the thing is, because the shit that science can answer really well just blows people's minds if it doesn't blow them up. But the point is, it's just astonishing what science has accomplished. That it gives all the more temptation for people to think that science can take pieces of knowledge that where the accessibility is actually low, but the desirability is high, and to think that science can just magically push them into high accessibility. But there are a lot of things that science can't do that with, and that's basically the deal with science, is that you have to be grateful for the things that it can answer, and really humble about the things that it can't answer, and aware of the temptation to believe that science can answer things that it can't. So thanks for watching. That's this week's episode of the Frequently Zapped Questions. And you can email me your question. I will see you next week.